So the Rebbe once told a story. It was actually, that year was published in the Kfar Chabad magazine. So the Rebbe Rayatz, his father, once sent him to Petersburg to accomplish something. Apparently it was something, it wasn't major. It wasn't one of the three Avedas of Yehorig Val Yavar, but there was something that was pending, Gzeda, that was pending, that was not favorable. Something for the chinuch of children, or something to do with Rabbonim, whatever it was. It wasn't good. It wasn't good for the Jews. But it wasn't one of the, mi yodea ma, one of the things. But the Rebbe Rashab sent his son to go to Petersburg. He said, how long should I stay there? So he said, Biz Mesiris Nefesh. So when his father told him that, in his mind it was like, V'oviv Shamar Sadover. He took it seriously. He knew that there's something here. And even though it didn't seem like there was something, but when he came to Petersburg, he realized that there was nothing he could do. It was like a foregone conclusion. Again, whatever it was, the issue that the Gezeres HaMalchus, the Russian government, was going to make, was like there was no way to change it. The Frierdiker Rebbe became friendly with a fellow. So the Tsar, the way that Rebbe told the story was that the last Tsar, the Tsar that was deposed, was assassinated in 1917. So they say that he wasn't a big chochem. Yeshomer, he wasn't a chochem altogether. So who ran his mass empire? Who ran the country? So this Sara Pnim, this guy, one of his ministers, not only ran the country but ran the Tsar himself. He ran the show. And he was known to be a Soine Yisrael. Besides being a Soine Yisrael, he had no Anushis, no Menschlichkeit. He was a cruel person. All the spontaneous so-called pogroms were, orchestrated from his office. There was nothing spontaneous that happened. They were well orchestrated. Just like in Iran, they have spontaneous big demonstrations against America. In North Korea, they have spontaneous big demonstrations to support their great leader. That's how they had spontaneous outbreaks of pogroms all over Russia. They were well organized by this fellow. But he had a mentor when he was young who had a strong affinity for religious leaders. And because as a position of the son of the Lubavitcher Rebbe and the great-great-grandson of the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, so he became very friendly with this fellow, an old Russian goy, a devout Christian, and became friendly with him. So the Rebbe Rayatz was very young at the time, in his teens. So he asked this elderly Russian, how can you help me? He said, I can't help you. There's nothing I can do, but I tell you one thing. There was a government building, which is right next to you have the Winter Palace, right? They have this you have the White House and you have the Capitol building. The Capitol building. And he says, I have a pass to get in there. Very, very few people have a pass. I have a pass. I can go in there. No picture ideas in those days. So he said, I'll give you the pass. You go in there. If you could do something, do something. But I never gave you the pass. Frierdiker Rebbe said, Yeshkoyach. He took the pass. And he went to... So you have to realize, Frierdiker Rebbe was walking with a beard. And the city at that time was forbidden for a Jew to be in the city. It's forbidden for Jews to live there. Jews are only allowed to live there if they were multimillionaires. Baron Ginsburg, Polyakov, these people were allowed to live because the Russian government was interested in them. But otherwise, they despised the Jews. The Jews were not allowed to live in Petersburg. Kol shkem v'kal v'chomer.
Big beard.
So he shows up at the front and he shows the guard that he has this pass. So there's no questions. The guy goes straight. He goes straight in. Where is he to go? A huge building. There's nowhere to go. So if I blunge it here and there, finally he realized Sinish can talk. He stopped someone, and he says, "Where is the office of Mr. Stolypin?" It's on the third floor, right away at the end of the corridor. When he went up the steps and he walked into the corridor, he sees Mr. Stolypin himself walking out of his office. Wow. So he stood at the side until Stolypin disappeared, and he walked into to Stolypin's office. Ooh. There is on his desk. There's stamps and there's piles, things that he has to sort through, things that he already stamped into law. This is the Rosh Hashanah. When it's stamped by him, it's law.
That's it. It's finished.
So now the Frierdiker Rebbe is looking every minute, the step he hears. Stalippin walks back in. Before Shabbos, I had this guy who was scaling it. There's people that got into the White House over the years, or got into the Buckingham Palace, Mishagoyim, but they ended up sitting in jail for a nice couple of years for doing so. And in Russia, you don't end up in jail, not even for a day. It's a Mesidus Nefesh Mamish. A Yid be caught in Stalippin's office, a Soini Yisrael, Rachmana litzlan, in the most cruel way. Rachmana litzlan, so many Yidden suffered from him. So the Frierdiker Rebbe is looking. He's looking for this one piece. He's looking for a needle in a haystack. For one document he's looking for. So he's looking and looking. Finally he found the document. Wow. He found the document and there were stamps. So there's like, approved, disapproved. Niet. He stabbed. Niet. Disapproved. Put it down in the other pile. And he left. And Pile Ploim, it just went under the radar. The guy, the thing was just, it was shredded, that was it, there was nothing. He went back home and he told his father that mission accomplished.
Yes.
That was it, next.
This was Mesiut Nefesh.
Exactly. So na Fabrengen, in honor, this is now the Rebbe Rashab. So the Rebbe says that we see here an incredible thing, that he sent his son for shlichus of Mesidus Nefesh, and he meant it. This was something that his life was going to be on the line. And we see that the Rebbe Rayatz also sent out shluchim throughout his lifetime, that mamash Mesidus Nefesh. So that brings us to an interesting story, which is in this week's Haftorah, which is the story of David HaMelech and how he gave over his kingdom to Shlomo HaMelech. So look in the papers. Let's go through very, very quickly. Time is short. I skipped out the first 5 psukim, which are not negayah so much in the actual story. V'hamelech David Zokim Baba Yomim. Skip to pasuk 5. V'adoniyo ben Chagis misnasei leimer ani emlech. So Adoniyo says, I'm going to be king. V'yasle recha paroshim v'chamishim ish rotzim lefona. 50 people used to run in front of him. This guy was his father never rebuked him, so in his mind he was a perfect person. He looked very handsome. He was born after Avshalom. All his brothers were already dead by now. Amnon was out of the way, Daniel was out of the way, Avshalom was out of the way, so he felt that he's the next, so he should be king. He got 2 of the main key people in the kingdom of his father, which is Yoav ben Tzruya, the general which brought all these victories to David HaMelech, and also of Yosser HaKohen, who was the Kohen when Shaul killed his father and the whole city of Novi HaKohenim of Yosser.
Because he felt that they were going against him.
Right, of Yosser ran, and he caught up to David, and David said, you'll stay with me. He always had Urim Betumim. David HaMelech had a question, he would always ask of Yosser.
But you imagine that halachically he didn't do something wrong? The king had the right to do it because he felt it was more than
Who, Shaul?
Yeah.
Oh, Shaul. Novi HaKohenim was considered one of the greatest sins that he did.
But if it was a mordim halach of mordim, it doesn't.
Okay, let's leave that story for another time.
How many people you kill in North?
It wasn't a city like New York. It wasn't a city like New York. Whatever.
No, okay, sorry.
So, Yosser and Yoav both fell out of favor with David HaMelech. Yoav, what happened was, he killed people that David liked. For example, Avner ben Ner, who was the general of Shaul, when he wanted to make peace with David, Yoav went and killed him. Yoav didn't trust that he was really at peace. And Yoav was very upset about that. And that was one. Another, a third incident. After a few stories, he realized that David's heart was not with him. Also, Evyosor, he realized that David had more favor to Tzadok HaKohen, and that David HaMelech was going to replace, and the new Kohen Gadol is going to be Tzadok. So Adoniyo, knowing that these 2 fellows are not expecting for a great promotion after David HaMelech passes away, figured that these two guys who are key people in the government will be loyal to him. So he,
Thing. Just to explain, why didn't David make any macha against Adonyahu, and why did these people know?
Oh, you're spoiling the story. V'tzadik HaKohen of Neyo ben Yehoyada v'Nosan HaNovi v'Shimi v'Rei v'Giborim asher LeDavid lo Yehoyu ima Adonyahu. And the Tzadik HaKohen ben Neyo ben Yehoyada Nosan HaNovi. These people were not with Adonyahu. Each one of them have another story, but obviously the main one is Nosan HaNovi. Nosan HaNovi, said the Nevuah that Shlomo Melech is going to be the next Melech. Vayizbach Adonyahu tzoin uvokor uminim even azochelos asher eitzel ein roikel vayikres kol echad bnei Melech ol chol anshe Yehuda avdei Melech. He made a big zvicha, and he called everyone. However, it's Nosan HaNovi ben Yoav v'segbonim v'shlomo v'loi korah. V'yom Nosan v'sheva im shlomo lo yashomata. Didn't you hear that Adonyahu declared himself king? I'm going to give you an eitzah, and it will save your soul and your son. If his brother will be king, he'll probably kill his younger brother to make sure that he doesn't stand in his way. So I'm going to give you an eitzah of what to do. Boy lechi uvay al melech David v'amart elav aloy ata Adonai melech nishbat al amos chalem k'shlem avnechim lachacharei v'yeshakisi. You made a vow to me that Shlomo is going to sit on my seat. Chazal say that she didn't want to be with David HaMelech after her first son died until he made a shvuah that the son that will be born will be the king. You should demand why Adonyahu became king. While you're talking, I'm going to come and help you out. Hasheva came to the Melech's room. How does a person just walk in? It's his wife. So his wife could walk into his room. Avishag was serving the Melech. The king said, what do you do? Apparently she hasn't been there for some time, or the manner of how she walked in, he realized that something's wrong, something's off. So the king says immediately, Malach. You made a vow in Hashem's name. You said Shlomo is going to sit on my seat. And Adonyahu became king, and you, in other words, a question mark, did you not know about it? So obviously if he's not calling Shlomo, there's something foul here. Everyone's looking out to you to tell them who is going to be the next king. When the Melech is going to be with his parents, in other words, going to be nifter. That me and my son Shlomo will be chatoim. This is the proof that Chassidus always brings. That chatoim doesn't always mean a sin. Chet means chisora.
Shlomo Melech was a king while David Melech was alive.
Oh, you're spoiling the story. That's at the end.
That's why I'm wondering why she's asking.
Because that didn't happen yet. It happened because of this. Hina edanim medaberes im Melech v'nosan hanovi bo. He bowed to the Melech. Did you decree that Adonyahu should be king? Was it authorized from you? So obviously something's wrong. Is that possible? Call back Bathsheba. Yeshava Amelech Vayomer Chaya Shem Shapodas Nafshim Kol Tzorik Shenishbati Loch Bashem Al Keisor Lema Ki Shlema Benechim Lachachar Vayeshav Kisi Takta Kikenes Hayom Hazeh, that I'm making a vow again in Abish's name that Shlomo is going to sit on my seat. Batikat Bathsheba Apayim Eretz Va Tishtachu LaMelech Vatomer Yechi Adonai Melech David Loilam, which is strange.
have this on my phone.
Yechia Melech David. Yechia Adonenu.
Yechia Melech HaMashiach.
Vayomer HaMelech David.
End of
Kira li letzadek HaKohen lenosna novi levneo ben Yehoda vayevoy lifnei HaMelech. A strange thing. She declares Yechia Adoni HaMelech when he says that he's, you know,
Son going to
yeah, his son going to take over. Oh, but this is the key about the Yechia Melech thing. So what happens? That the Melech decides that that's it. He's going to take action. He's going to implement it immediately. Melech David Kiru letzadek HaKohen lenosna v'leviyo ben Yehoda v'tov vayevoy lifnei HaMelech. Melech lahem chuy mochim as avde denechem. Take from my servants. Take him down to the spring that's called the Gichon spring. Why the Pirda? So the Meforshim say because the Sus Asherochav Olav Melech, only the Melech is allowed to, like you know from the story in Megillas Esther, right? So when Shlomo will ride on the horse, it will be clear that he is the king. You should blow the shofar. He should sit on my throne.
While he was alive, he said.
This is while he was alive. ויאמר אמן, כן יאמר השם אלוקי אדוני המלך. כאשר הויה השם עם אדוני המלך, כי נהיה עם שלמה ויגדל כיסא, מכיסא אדוני המלך דוד. Meforshim will say that Chazal learned from this posuk that ein odam miskanim bevnoi betalmidei. Because how could you say to David HaMelech, that brocha, that v'yigdal kiseh, mikiseh Adonai HaMelech David, that Shlomo's kiseh should be even bigger. Elamai, because he's not jealous of his son. His son is him.
He's happy. His son is
If
better.
his son is alive, he's alive. Vayedet tzaddik.
Bigger.
Right, the son will be.
That's still the son of Chazal. Ein adam is mitkanei. The knowledge that
Even if he's bigger,
Yeah.
right? He's bigger, right?
The
Exactly.
He wanted him to be bigger.
The
Vayedet,
Gemara itself.
right?
Everybody
Vayedet tzaddik
everybody
HaKohen.
wanted the kid to be better.
Right, but we learn it from here because you see that that they gave a bracha to David that v'yigdal es kiseh mikiseh Adonai HaMelech David. Vayedet tzaddik HaKohen v'nosan hanovi v'nyo ben Yoda. None of us will be upset that kids are bigger Yerushalayim than us. Bigger Talmidei Chacham. Gresach said them, right? Vayedet tzaddik HaKohen v'nosan hanovi v'nyo ben Yoda v'akreisi v'apleisi. And all the leaders, Tzaddik, Nosan, Ben Yo, with the kreisi the place of the Urim and the Tumim, Akiva Shlomo appeared to Melech David by Yichlos El Gichon. They went to the spring because you have to crown a king on the spring to show that the Malchus will be everlasting like a live spring. Vayikach Tzaddik HaKohen es keren Hashem and min oil from the oil moed. Vayimshech Shlomo vayitku b'shofar v'yom kolam Yechia HaMelech Shlomo v'yalo kol om achra v'om mechalim mechalilim smeichim simcha g'dola v'tibok aretz v'kolam. The whole city was plotzing from there was the tumult. V'yishma Adoni Yo v'chol akrim ha'sh'ita v'im kilu lechel v'yishma Yoyov es kol ha'shofar v'yemer madu kol kiryahim hoima. So when the party was dying down by Adoni Yo, they heard a big voice coming from Yerushalayim. They said, "Whoa, what's going on? What's the loud voice here?" Tell us our good news. What's going on? The news is not that good. Sorry to tell you, but David HaMelech just had crowned Shlomo. The Kohen, Godel, and the Navi, and the other general, Ben Yehoda, and once he's sitting on Pirdas HaMelech, you know that this is serious business. They made him a melech, the whole city is moving. That's the voice you're hearing. He's sitting on the throne. That Shlomo should have a bigger name than you. And even David HaMelech bowed. This is the words of the Melech. That thank the Eibush that he gave my son to sit on my throne and my eyes could see it. In other words, this was serious. David HaMelech thanked Hashem that his son became king. Everyone dispersed immediately. They realized this is serious business. He held on to the karnas Mizbeach. He thought that Shlomo is going to kill him. And he didn't think that Shlomo would kill him once he's holding on to the karnas Mizbeach. ויוגד לשלמה למה הנה אדוניו יורס המלך שלמה והנה אוחז בקרנס המזבח למה ישב לחיים המלך שלמה עם יומס es avde v'chorav. That Adoniyo said he's not going to walk off the mizbeach unless Shlomo gives a promise that he will not kill him. V'yom Shlomo im yeh ben chayil, if he's going to be a ben chayil to serve me, lo yipul masar osay ortza v'imro temotzavay umeis v'yishlach hamelech Shlomo v'yirdu mal mizbeach. They told him this message and he climbed down from the mizbeach. And he bowed to the Melech. Apparently he thought that he immediately is called to service. I didn't mean that you have to immediately be a Ben Chayil. If I need you, I'll call you. The shaila that's the $1 million question here is, and this story continues also more length in Divrei Hayomim, Perek Chavches and Chavtes, and over there is Vayevorech David, the Vayevorech David we say in the morning. How could this be? We know that there's a story in Gemara Shabbos. The Gemara Shabbos says that David the Melech turned to the Eibishter. It's Kapitel Amatas and Tehillim. He said, "Eidei Hashem Kitzi Midas Yonim Mayim Edem Echad Loni." Said the Eibishter, I want to know when I'm dying. The Eibishter said, "Gzeidem Elefonai. This is a secret. No one knows." So he said, at least Be'ezeh Yom Amos Edem Echad Loni. Which day in the week? The Eibishter said, "B'Shabbos Thomas." So he started to negotiate. Be'ech B'Shabbos. Can I live one more day? Shabbos is not a good day to die. So the Eibishter said no. Higia kvar zman malchus shloime b'neich ve'ein malchus negaz b'chaver tafila k'v'lai nima. That one malchus can't infringe on the other one even as much as a hair. So he can't. So he said be'erev Shabbos amos. So he didn't want to disturb Shabbos. He said, I'll die a day earlier. The Eibishter said, it says in the pasuk Tov yem echatzerecha me'olav, that one day that your Yoshev Ba'isek B'Torah is better to me than Elef Oilas She'osed Lahakrev Bincha Shloim Al Gabe Mizbeach. So the Gemara says that he had Shlomo Melech had a trick, how he'll outwit the Malach HaMovos. David HaMelech, sorry. And but the David HaMelech, as much as
the window,
he did all the tricks that he needed to do, the Malach HaMovos, and that was it. And he was Nifton and Shabbos. So we see that Ein Malchus Negaz B'Chavet Avlik B'Nanima. How could it be that David HaMelech should make his son a king in his lifetime? And we know another klal that Rashi says, and a child learns right in the beginning of the story of creation, a Chumash. What was the dispute with the sun and the moon? Huh?
You're not allowed to have a king. Can give over to his son by
there is such a thing. Many times in Tanakh. Many times in Tanakh. If you go through Tanakh, it happened many times.
Can have two kings.
But what happened was, father was sick, or for whatever reason he couldn't be a melech, so he gave the job to his son. That we find in Tanakh. But that there should be two kings at the same time. What did the sun and what did the moon say about the sun? Ein shnei malachim mishtamshim bekeser echad. Right. Maybe she said, yeah, you're right. Maybe she said, you're right. But you see that this taina is a true taina. So how could it be that David HaMelech, after having this whole discussion with the Eibishter tells him, Ein Malchus Negas Machavet Afila Kamlei Nima, that he would make his son should be king in his lifetime. He didn't take away because we find, for example, we do find, as we said, in the lifetime of a father that he should appoint the son. There's a famous Tshuvas Rashba, which is later brought in Shulchan Aruch, and the Ramah brings it lahalocha in Shulchan Aruch and Nerechaim, Siman on Gimel. There was a city in Spain where there was a Chazan, Ben Benoy Shel Chazan. There was Chazonim for many generations, and they had the Chazak in the main shul that he was the Chazan. And something happened. They didn't realize that life expectancy. He lived a long life. The problem is he was living longer than his voice. He was already not in his prime. So he said, his son. So a Shabbos him, a Shabbos his son. He got his son to help him out. The Kila got very angry. They said, "You're the chazan. Your son is not the chazan. Anyway, he doesn't have his voice as good as you, as your father, your grandfather. We're getting a new chazan." Became a huge machloikis in the ganze Stadt. You know, like some things that blow up. They had to go to the Rashba. The Rashba said, they wrote a long tshuva about this. First of all, the Rashba establishes that it's not true, that the chazan does have a right to take off here and there and could have his son do it. And even not his son, he could take off Ayin Adeh Shabbos if he wants to go on vacation. But Lagufa Shalinyan, this is where the big thing of the tshuva is. He says that because the son, if the son didn't have a good voice at all, or it was not a Yoresh Shemayim, so then the Kehila has a right to hire a new chazan. But because the son is not a bad voice, Taka, there's chazanim that are better. There's Taka better chazanim. There's better chazanim. You know, they say there's a story that was a Psarov in Ashdod, his name was Pinchas. You know the same story, that the Pinchas, and then Shaychas the Pinchas. So they came, and the chazan, the shamash, they all get a salary from the Kehila. But the chazan claimed that he's a very good chazan. He wants to get paid more. But the Kehila said, we have the same thing for the chazan, for the rov. So he had a big tiny. He said, no, he wants a better salary. So the rov said, that's like gerecht. Oise meise zimre, mevachish schake pinchas. He's Zimri, he's singing, but he wants a schar like Pinchas. So this guy, the Rashba said is right. He can give over. It's because every leadership position in Klal Yisrael, you can give as Yerusha to your son. You're allowed to give it over to your son, and even if he's alive, he's allowed to give it over to his son, just like a king in his lifetime could give it over to his son, as long as the son could sing. And it doesn't matter that he's a lesser chazan than his father, and there's better chazanim. And that was it. That was a psak. And as Brun Shulchan Aruch by the Ramah. So, for sure that there is such a thing, and lahalocha. However, that's not what happened here. That's not what happened here. David HaMelech didn't stop functioning as a king. As we see from in Divrei Hayomim, that after he made him a king, again, he spoke to Klal Yisrael, and he gave instructions, and so he still functioned as a king.
I think I have a little answer for that, because this was a special incident that David HaMelech saw all the balagan that had around his kingdom, with this son want to be this, make himself kingdom. So he said, even I'm alive now, I'm going to put him as a king before there be more problems. To avoid everything.
I hear. I said that's why he wanted to. We understand why he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
The question is, how could you have two kings at the same time? How is it possible? I say, how could you? The fact that some fathers gave it over historically to the son was they abdicated their own seat and they gave it to their son. That we find. But that there should be two kings at the same time, parallel. So we find such a thing. We find that David HaMelech, for 6 months, he was running away from his son Avshalom. However, when he was running away from his son Avshalom, there's an interesting discussion in the Gemara. The Gemara says, and the Yishalmi says, if there's a special im nasi yechta, the special korban that a nasi brings if he sins, if David, theoretically, if he sinned in that 6 months, he wouldn't bring a soyer. So he didn't have the din of malchus. First of all, not everyone agrees. Some say he did have the din of melech. But anyway, that's not the case. So here, he still had the function of a melech. And the second thing is, you could say there was two kings, right? After Shlomo Melech, there were two kings. There was Rechavam, the son of Shlomo Melech, and there was Yeravim ben Avad.
But that was a different
country, different border. Exactly. So another pshat that one might give is the Gemara says that there's a concept of a case and a palgi case. It says that Mashiach will come, also HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have David Acher, that there's going to be David HaMelech and another David HaMelech. How can you have two kings at the same time? So the Gemara says case or palgi case. There's going to be a king and a half a king, like an assistant king. Okay, but that's not what happened here. It's not the pshat that David HaMelech made Shlomo Melech his assistant king.
Rabbi Emeritus.
Atazai. That wasn't the case. It was two. So how could it be? Good kasha. So before we go to the answer, let's go to the Rambam Hilchas Malachim.
From the way down.
Here in the bottom of the page. Rambam Hilchos Malachim Perek Aleph. First Perek in Hilchos Malachim. Kishmamidim Hamelech.
I'm sorry, what does this all has to do with Chayei Sara? I'm still trying to connect to it.
Why is it to do? Why this? Well, first of all, that's the Minig Yisrael, that the Haftorah of Shabbos, parshas Chayei Sara, the pashtus, because just like in Chayei Sara, that the name of the parshas is Chayei Sara, and she passed away. Same thing here, David the Melech passes away. But the pashtus, the pshat is that Chayei Sara, I mean the Chassidish pshat, not the pashtus pshat. The Chassidish pshat is that when because her son gets married and he's alive, Mazare B'chaim, Ahu B'chaim, that Sara Imenu is alive when she sees that her son gets married and he builds the first Jewish house. So that's Chayei Sara. So same thing here. Basheva declares Yechi David HaMelech. What Yechi David? He's passing away now. No, because he appointed his son, and his son is going to be is going to be king. So if Shlomo Melech is alive, he's alive. So that's the pshat of the.
Usually that's what they bring.
Usually the Haftorah has to be the same story of the Pasha. That's all the Yechi HaMelech story. Rambam Hilchos Malachim Perek Aleph. Shmamidim HaMelech, when they appoint a king. Moishe Chanes B'Shem HaMishcha Shenema V'Yikra Shmuel HaZabach Shema V'Yotzek HaRosh V'Yishakeu Ach Shemosh Chanes HaMelech Shemosh HaMelech Elu Zoch Lo Levon Avad Olam. Once a king is appointed, he has the sichos for him and his children eternally. Shamalchus Yerusha Shenema L'man Yavachem HaMamlachta Hu Uvonav B'Kerev Yisrael. Nich Ben Kod, and he passes away and he leaves a little son. M'shamar L'am Luchat Shigdal K'mashasa Yoida L'Yoyesh If there's two sons, whoever's first for the Yerusha is first for also for the Melucha. So, for example, if there's two sons, the older son gets to be king. The older son is before the younger son. Not only when it comes to kingdom, every position of leadership, like the story of the Rajba, where the Chazan wanted to appoint his son.
That's what you got it.
Right, that's the Rajba, right. So,
it's a democracy.
No, Yerusha levnoi ulevem benoi ad oilo. V'hu sheyia ben memala mokem avoisad b'chochma b'yida. It has to be that the son is memala mokem, that he fills the shoes of his father. Hoya memala b'yida, v'b'shin memala b'chochma. If he fills his father's space, he's a yida shemayim, but he's not as wise as his father. Still, my midamayis and b'mokev aviv, they appoint him in the place of his father. Malam de noisai, they teach him. So it's a bislach, he'll get a little smarter. Right, it doesn't have. No, you can't teach him. Okay, stop. David was appointed. When David the Melech was appointed as a king, Keser Malchus, he got the crown of a kingdom. He got it for him and his children eternally. Shnema kisacha yeh nochem ad olam. V'lezoch ela l'kshedim. Shnema imishu v'necha berisa av vish lezoch ela l'kshedim. Loit tekoras malucha v'zera David. Even though it's on the kshedim, however, the Eibush promised that he's never going to stop being a king from David. Because Baruch Yevticha b'kach shnema im yazu bonav teros mishpoti lo yalechem fakad b'sheif b'bisham gem b'avoinam. I'm going to punish them and I'm going to make them do tshuva, but I'm always going to keep a chesed. There's always going to be a king from David.
It's interesting that it sticks to it, because before David Melech there was still kings in Israel. Yehuda was the king, and
true.
Why is it
afterwards also there were kings, like the Rambam is going to say in the next?
The Chashmonaim, and
but there was never such a thing that there's going to be eternally, only by David HaMelech. And that's really what the Rambam says if you look at Alocha Dalet. I'm sorry, Alocha Tes, the last two lines. Malche beis David ema oinem le'olam. Only by David. Shenema kisach yeh nochen ad olam, avalim yamad melech mishor Yisrael, the posak ha-malchus mi beisoi, sharei nemer liyev rabo, ach loi kol hayom.
There was a time there was Malchi Yisrael, Malchi Yehuda.
Right.
So what was that about?
And not only that, if there was...
But then you say over here, so once it's not a that, then it's okay. What does that mean? What he's trying to say in the last pasuk? Did you explain? Malche beis David hema omdim le'olam shene'emar kischayei le'olam.
But then there could be tavasik.
What does that mean?
The Ravid says he doesn't understand what this means. He says, I understand. What's the difference between David and every other king? If there's going to be If the children are going to be kshedim, then the loyte pasuk melucha loylam. If they won't be kshedim, there won't be a melucha. He doesn't understand. And Bechlal, the Rebbe asks here that the Rambam seems to be repetitive on everything that he said in Halacha Zayin. First of all, he says every leadership position by Yidden that goes over to the son as a Yerusha, like the Rashba said with the Chazan. So why do they have to repeat and say I understand. That's what you just said. It's repeat. You said every leadership position. Well, and if the Nakuda is what he says later, that loyte koretz hamaluchim is David loylam, and so again he repeats it in Halachat Tes. What's the Rambam saying here? What is the Rambam trying to say? The Rebbe says like this. You see that the Rambam is medayik when he says about David HaMelech. He says Kim shenimshach David zocha bekeser malchus. He was zocha with the crown of the Melech. Bekeser malchus. He was zocha to be Melech. What's bekeser malchus? What's this word that Rambam? This extra word is a key to understand the Nakuda. What's the word of Keser Malchus?
Three Kesers.
So Keser Malchus is Azoy. There's two Nakudas in every Malchus. There is Malchus, which is a tafkid. It's a position. That Pasuk says, Melech is Asher Yetzel name, Asher Yitziyim, Asher Yevim. Shmuel Hanavi says a whole long thing, what a king is supposed to do, what are the obligations of a king. It's a tafkid, it's an hoga, it's a function. And that's what it is. And the second thing is Melech Be'etzem, is Be'etzem a Melech. It's like we say that, we said about Shaul, Shichma U'mayla Gavoya Mikolam. He was like Be'etzem, he was Be'etzem like aloof, he was Be'etzem, a big person. Chassidus says this, like for example, in Ma'ayim Beis, the Maimer has an interesting diuk. In Malchus we say, Hoid V'hodor. What's the difference? For example, we say, when 10 people learn together, it's a big sichos. Why? Because beroivam hadras melech. More people, even better. The hadras melech. There's hoid melech and hadras melech. What's the difference between hoid malchus and hador? Interesting thing that Rebbe Rashab says. Hador is like you say, roivam hadras melech. The people give the melech the koyach to be a leader. If they don't want him as a leader, he's not a leader. He's only a leader if they accept him to be a leader. So that's Hodr. Beroivam hadras melech. More Yidden come together, it's more a hadras of the Eibishter. Then there's Hoid. Hoid means it's Isnasos Be'etzem. It's the mile of Malchus that it's Be'etzem a melech. So the Gemara says this in as we learned in Sahed, and the Gemara says also in Avodah Zarah, that Asalia killed all the king's children because she wanted to be queen. Her daughter saved one baby, put him up in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and raised the baby in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Asalia didn't think that to look in the Kodesh HaKadoshim to find pampers and a baby's carriage in a crib in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The Shtangefal. So when the kid was old enough, they made a revolt and they killed Asalia and they appointed Yoash to the crown, to the throne. But the Gemara says that what they did was there was a klal b'malchi beis David that called shekesa David halmasoi ro mamluchi. That how did they know if someone is roy lamlucha? How did they know if the descendant of David should be king? There was a crown. It was a one size. You can't make it bigger or smaller. There was like a sort of a line, and I guess in this David the Melech, his head, and it was like a specific fit, and anyone that it fits, then that's why the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that Adoni Yom Misnasei Leimer Ani Emloich, that he was trying to get the crown to fit his head. It really did not fit. So he was trying to get it to fit. He was trying to squeeze his head into the crown. So there's a concept of keser melucha. So there's two nekudas here. It could be a person that's not roy to be a melech, but the people want him to be a melech. He's to be a melech. He's a functional melech. There is a person who's roy to be be'etzem a melech, be'etzem shichva gavoya gemailam mikolam. So what's the difference? The difference is like this: a person who's not be'etzem roy to be a melech. Okay, for 4 years he was voted, he's going to be in the Oval Office, he comes, he goes. After 4 years he's out. Maybe they like him a little more, he'll stay in the Oval Office for 8 years. If he's a Melech Be'etzem, then it's never going to stop.
Putin.
What to say? If he was a melech be'etzem, he's never going to stop. When the Eibishter promised David the Melech that his melucha, so when we say, but the Rambam is trying to say, is what's the difference between the kingdom of David the Melech and the kingdom of all the other kings of Eden? They were also kings. They had a din of Melech, and they had a din of Yerusha. But by them, it was a tafkid of Melucha. It was a function of Melucha. Keser Melucha was only given to David HaMelech. In other words, the tafkid of Melucha, that could be, Yerovam ben Avat can also have it. And if his descendants will be kosher, Bil'ad al Melam, they could be Melech. But it'll have to be a hefsek, because they're not really Melech. It's not in their DNA, it's not in their blood. Keser Melucha is only for David HaMelech. True, it has to be Kshedim. They only the Kshedim get it. But there is a concept of Keser Melucha. It's like in the DNA. The Be'etzem HaMelech. David HaMelech was zoiche to get the Keser Melucha. Therefore, it's not stam that the Eibishter promised that David HaMelucha will always be, and the other Melachim not necessarily. This was a simon to show that David's Melucha was a different type of Melucha. That his Melucha is not just a function of a king, but a king Be'etzem. Because he's a king Be'etzem, just like you say, it could be an evolution. Things could change. But a monkey is not going to become a human being. A human being is not going to become a monkey. We don't believe that that's shaykh. Some people believe, but we don't believe that that's shaykh. Exactly. So why? Because it's not shaykh. A human being is not going to become a monkey. So the same thing here. There is a function of a melech, but he's not really a melech. So eventually it's going to stop. But David HaMelech, not only he got the function, that's why he said, that's what the Rambam is medayek, that David HaMelech was zoiche bekeser melucha, and therefore his melucha cannot have a hefsek. It wasn't just the Eibush that promised him, you're a great guy, you know what, I'm throwing in for you an extra thing in your melucha. It's a different type, a different gather of melucha. Therefore, what's the nafkamina? Very simple. If you have, what's negate to us is for a son. In a regular, if you have a function of a melech, so if a function of a melech, one person can function a king, not two. One person drives the car, not two. Ein day, same Shabbos. Two people have different ways of leadership. So it's the father or the son. Two people can't drive the vehicle at the same time. One person or the other one. So the father could say, you know what, I will abdicate the throne, and my son will take over. That's shaykh. But you cannot be two kings at the same time. David the Melech, because it's melucha be'etzem, he was able to make such a thing that his son was king. He revealed that this, just like the Kesem Melucha, that eternally they used to put on the head to show that this is Roy to be a king, because Kesed David Halmaseh, David declared that his son is king. He was revealed that Shloimeh has that DNA. Shloimeh has that Melucha be'etzem. True, the tafkid of Melucha, the function that David the Melech kept for himself. He functioned as a Melech, not his son. Shlomo didn't function as a melech. But it was shaykh to be two kings. In the tafkid of Melucha, you can only have one. One person sits. The buck has to stop at one desk, not at two. Otherwise, who's responsible? Who runs the show? This one or that one? The tafkid of Melucha could be only one. But Melucha be'etzem, it could be both. Because the tafkid of Melucha was still David the Melech. And be'emes, in other words, whatever David HaMelech wanted to do through Shlomo HaMelech, Shlomo was like, for example, a shliach. We say a shliach is kamoisev the Meshaleach. So, but you can't send a goy. Why? Why can't you send a goy to be a shliach? Because there's nothing, it has to be, they have something in common. With David HaMelech, Shlomo, in his lifetime, to be a melech, it wasn't stam. He hadn't the inyan of Melucha, so when David the Melech said, you sit in my throne, you do this, you do that, so Mamela, he was mamash, he was a Melech, but he was what Malchus? He was the Malchus of David the Melech. In the lifetime, he was the Malchus of David the Melech. There was a special Fabrengen, a special gathering at the end of Tisha in Crown Heights. It was 62 years ago. There was a special at epicenter, 5 kids that were murdered by Arabs, terror in Israel. And it's a special connection to Shmulik's father. Shmulik's father had a full shlema. What's your father's name?
Mordechai Tzvi,
The Rebbe sent special shluchim, and they went to give a lot of chayes to Chabad and Eretz Yisrael and to being for Chabad. They went to visit all the Rabbeim. They went to Belzer Rebbe. They went to get a Rebbe. They made a special connection, and good. So they had a special farbrengen with all those that group of 13 shluchim. 62 years ago, so they had a special right. They had all, so Be'el Shem Tov that told us al Maisa. I never heard the story. He said that Rabbi Kazanovsky was a big ask in Chabad. So he went. The Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, used to send him for many shlichus. He sent them to Chicago. Apparently, there was some politics brewing there, and he wanted to settle whatever it was. There's an issue to settle the issue. And it was a complex issue. He said, Rebbe Rayat said, when you go down the stairs, I want you to go into my son-in-law's office and talk to him about this inyan, because the Rebbe Rayat had appointed the Rebbe to be the head of Merkez L'Inyan Chinuch, the outreach, to take care of outreach of Chabad. So talk to my son-in-law. So Kazanovsky decided to be a chacham. He knocked the door. He didn't tell the Rebbe, I spoke to your father-in-law. He said that I should talk to you. He said that I'm going to Chicago, the Rebbe listened to everything he had to say. And the Rebbe said, I have an eitzah for you. The eitzah was totally different. The opposite of what now he walked out, he didn't know what to do. Here the Rebbe told him, but the Rebbe told him to talk to son-in-law, and son-in-law told him to do the opposite. What was he supposed to do? Yeah, wasn't it? He went back upstairs. And he went back to the Frierdiker Rebbe. He said, what should I do? So, your son-in-law told me an eitzah. It was just the other way around. He said, my son-in-law told you? You should do exactly what he told you. You should know that I have, I forgot the words. It was like I have an inner bittul nahadis kodvet for my son-in-law. So he listened to what the Rebbe told him. Apparently the Rebbe found out what happened. He said, for the rest of the lifetime of the Rebbe Rayatz, he could never get any instructions from the Rebbe. It was like the Rebbe wanted to talk to him. Till the Rebbe became a Rebbe. Afterwards, he became very close. And the Rebbe, that was it. The Rebbe didn't want to talk to him again. He didn't want to give him any instructions.
Then go behind my back.
No,
so,
he basically went against his Frierdiker Rebbe. He went against the word of the Rebbe.
See here, you see,
he felt like he betrayed him.
David HaMelech. If you ask Shlomo HaMelech in the lifetime of David, are you a Melech? He wouldn't have seen himself as a separate Metzias. Just like the Rebbe didn't ever see himself in the presence of his father-in-law as a Metzias. Can you do it to everyone that knows? He never saw himself as anything in the presence of his father-in-law. Find out years later that the Frierdiker Rebbe thought of his son-in-law higher of himself, but the Rebbe didn't think of himself as anything. If you ask Shlomo HaMelech, B'chai David HaMelech, so what are you? You're a big guy? He would say, I'm nothing. I am nothing. I'm only sitting on the kisei of my father. I am nothing. I'm not a Metzias. I'm nothing. Nishka Metzias. Adoniyo was not that way. But Shlomo HaMelech, that was so therefore it was possible. It was shayach. It's not shtei malachim mishtamshim bekeser echad. It wasn't. It was one on Hogas HaMalucha. It was David HaMelech. It was just that David HaMelech was megala that his son Shlomo has the Malucha be'etzem. If Shlomo HaMelech did anything, it was just like David HaMelech's hand. It was nothing. He didn't see himself as a Metzias. The Rebbe said at this Farbrengen the same thing here. When the Rebbe Rashab sent his son, and he said, Ad kedei Mesiras Nefesh, how could you tell someone to jump into fire? Mm-hmm. But he didn't see his son as something else. He saw his son as his hand. He saw his son as his hand. He saw it as he's going into it.
Don't forget, you gotta find that paper. You gotta. This is a whole story.
The Rebbe shall helfen that we should do our shlichus in life. And we should be zoichet to the Shiach Tzedkenu Taka, that will be a Keser, or Palgi Keser, and Yechi Dov Adoni HaMelech